Welcome to the Tequila Time Podcast. I'm Tequila, and I cannot wait to introduce you to my guest today, Fez, Ape Yacht Club member. Hi, Fez. How are you today?
Hey, Tequila. Thanks for having me. Excited to be on. Doing great.
Amazing. First of all, let's start from the beginning. How did your Ape Yacht Club journey begin?
So I joined the crypto space 2016, 2017, somewhere in that area. And played around there for a while, kind of, money that I would use for entertainment or something like that. I had a newborn at the time, so we weren't really going anywhere. I would, buy a little crypto here and there, and, it was all going up, so everybody was happy. And then it crashed, and I didn't have a whole lot. I think maybe minimally, I bet it was $2,000 to $2,500 that I had invested, but it pretty much got wiped out. So I heard about it quite a bit from my wife, how I was a bad investor. Anyways, so it started to come back a little bit, and interest started, going up. I always kept my eye on it and stayed somewhat plugged in. Just never started that buying process again because I wasn't real sure what was going on, and I didn't want to hear about it again. So I it started coming back, and I was traveling at the time for work, traveling a lot, listening to books, and I'd listened to a couple books on Ethereum, on the Ethereum network, and that led me to a book on NFTs. So listened to a book about NFTs. They were talking about crypto kitties. I think is like one of the main things that the very old man that was the narrator, he was reading about that. So it's kind of one of those things you didn't really know how much new information you were getting out of a book. Things were moving fast in the NFT space at the time. It was hard to find anything published that you could really count on as a good way to get in and find good information about NFTs. So that being said, I had Twitter, started following people that were an NBA Top Shot, which I had interest in because I was always been a card collector. So I actually bought some Top Shot, I think probably around January, February of 2020. 2021. And so that was kind of my first introduction to NFTs, I would say. And then shortly after that, I was laying in bed one night and came across somebody that had minted a Bored Ape and kind of understood what it was and how it worked. And so I went down the rabbit hole and downloaded MetaMask. And I don't know what gave me so much conviction to follow all these paths, but I think I flipped all in one night. I downloaded MetaMask, signed in. I figured out how to use a browser on MetaMask. I converted some crypto to ETH so I could mint, and it all happened within like me laying in bed. So woke up the next morning. I was like, man, I'm pretty sure, and I was probably under the influence. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that I bought I minted 3 NFTs last night. I need to go check on those and go see what they look like. And so I go check on them, and they're sold out. And it was kind of crazy to me at the time. I'm like, wait, there was, I had bought, there was under 2,000 minted by the time I had minted mine. So, the majority of the project sold out after I minted. And so it's pretty crazy to me. And I was already getting offers for significantly more than I had minted for. So that was kind of the crazy part of the NFT journey for me was, minting 3 Bored Apes as a pretty good start, I guess is the best way to put it. So I kind of followed ever since and have stayed in it. I'm in quite a few projects. I'm a Gutter Cat. I'm a fan of the Gutter Cat gang. I've got a few of their NFTs. Like I mentioned, Jenkins, have some Jenkins stuff. So yeah, I'm here in the space and excited to be a part of it and love the community that it's built for me.
For sure. It's such a great story. To mint 3 Bored Apes, to fall asleep and then to wake up and it's all green and on the end. That's, yeah, amazing. I bet you were so happy about that, especially being in an infancy stage of NFTs. I guess back then, no one knew exactly what was going to happen, especially with Bored Apes. because obviously they've surpassed most expectations. So yeah, to mint three is incredible. Do you still have all three?
I'm down to two. I sold one in January, and kind of a cool story there. Found the guy that bought it, and he happened to run a crypto company called DeFi Yield Protocol, and they were getting ready to launch their NFT project. So he wanted to have a Bored Ape kind of as the face of his NFT sector of his business, which is pretty smart. And anyways, so I connected with him. Yeah, I had a few NFTs that were tied to the particular ape. Like I mentioned, the Jenkins. I had a Jenkins valet ticket that was tied to the ape. So I wanted to let him know and give him the opportunity to purchase those things from me. And so he did. And we chatted a little bit about his project. He was asking for some input on, how to launch. And of course, I'm no tech expert. So he had asked me one day if I knew anybody that knew how to run a Discord channel. And I have a friend that, told me to download Discord so we could communicate while we're gaming. And so I happened to have it. That was like 4 years ago. And I know he still used it. So I'm like, yeah, I actually think I know somebody that can run a Discord channel pretty well. And so I connected those guys. And my buddy lives in California. Of course, he grew up here in Texas with me, but he's been in California for about the past 10 or 12 years. And they connected, and now he works for them full time. He represents their company here in the U.S. So kind of crazy that one Bored Ape JPEG can connect three people in that way. I got a friend that got a job. Of course, I sold my ape for profit, being that it was minted. So that helped me and my family out. And then the gentleman that bought my ape got a great employee and an ape to help advertise his project. So yeah, DeFi Yield Protocol. Check them out, DYP token. And they've got a great NFT staking project called Caws, CAWS. It's a cat style project, but lots of utility with the NFT. So that's the small, but all that from one ape cell, right?
It's amazing. It's incredible. The power of the Bored Apes is something like I've never seen before. It connects so many people with people that I guess would never have been connected before. It is amazing what can happen. And your friend to now be employed in something that obviously he enjoys, because if you're in Discord anyway and you enjoy using the platform, to now have a job and a role in Web2 where you get paid to use it, I mean, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And for you to still have two Bored Apes is also incredible. And I guess you should be pretty proud for Holden, because we've gone through an extreme bull run where we were getting crazy offers on our JPEGs, where then it went from a high top to then a quick plummet with the bear market now. And, things have changed drastically, but I guess enough of us have conviction in the Bored Ape Yacht Club and, knowing that we're a part of something unique and so many people have held and diamond handed. It's definitely a unique position to be in. But yeah, congratulations on an amazing start to your Bored Ape Yacht Club journey. And it's amazing that you still have two. And I really like the ape you're wearing right now.
Yeah, I've never used the filter in a way to where the white sweater is definitely the way to go, isn't it? Because it kind of looks like the sweater's part of it too, in a way. But the white sweater with the white
it's like
part,
you've got your augmented body ready,
Yeah.
It's a good combo. Yeah, so Jenkins the valet you mentioned, and you managed to obviously license an ape with it. Is that one that you're still holding? You mentioned that was for your friend, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. So the one that I have one Jenkins ticket left. That's I believe that it is tied to this ape. I have a friend that I got into the NFT space. That was his first NFT to really buy was the Jenkins valet. So since he bought it, I let him license my other ape with his ticket. That was kind of the thrust to get him into, hey, I'll even let you use my ape if you go buy it. So, I still have two. And like I said, I had the other one licensed out, but I just gave it to him for whatever the floor price was at the time so that he could get in. I'm sure he still has it, but it just didn't seem right to not at least make that offer to get into the Jenkins club with that. So, hey, my
That's
computer just
amazing.
showed
Yeah,
me a low
Jenkins is an
battery.
awesome project.
Yeah, let me go grab it real quick. We should be good now. Sorry about
After a few of these podcasts, we're going to be professionals.
that.
We're going to
definitely
be
need
so
help.
prepared one day. We would have done so many podcasts. We're just going to be pros at it.
I got to figure out how to get this filter on my Skype call for work.
Yeah.
If I get it.
Yeah, so it's amazing. It's amazing all of the things that being a board ape and owning one can lead and open doors to. You know, being able to connect with people globally in the same community where we all have such valuable connections, I guess, through others in the community, through the power of yoga labs and everything that's being built. You know, we've got the other side coming up, which is super exciting. I don't know if you took advantage of that, I guess, not very good mint time, because mint in other deeds, I remember, was a bit of a crazy, chaotic thing. And I spent far too much on gas compared to what I would have liked. But yeah, you're looking forward to it.
Yeah. We got airdropped other deeds. Is that right? And then there was a public sale.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I held on to, let's see, at the time. Okay. Yeah. That was a good story too. So I had two apes and a mutant when I got the drop. And so I didn't participate in the secondary because I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. The ape I sold got airdropped a coda land. So he got a coda with the ape that I didn't get any codas with any of mine. And so he got a nice little hidden treat
no.
there. So I was happy.
Wow.
I was happy for him, and I thought that was pretty cool. But of course, it's the one I sold, not one that I would keep, right?
That always happens. I mean, it always goes that way. Funny enough, actually, I participated in the public sale, and it was a bit chaotic. It was crazy, but obviously we got airdropped ape coin. So I took advantage of it. I wanted to, keep investing in yoga labs, and I do believe in the future. And again, I was treating it like it was gambling, and like it was, money that's I don't necessarily need it to, cover my the roof of my head. I basically invested,
Right.
and I invested quite heavily, which wild. And when I think back, hindsight is a wonderful thing about what I would have done, differently. But every single land that I minted didn't actually have any codas. I had a land with my board ape and a land with my mutant ape. And I was looking at everything before. I hadn't slept for a few days. I think maybe 4 days. I had only a couple of hours sleep. I was, really like pumped for all of this stuff going on. And like in true degen style, I was basically not eating and not sleeping properly. And I was just constantly on my devices. So it was a bit wild. And when I was like checking everything before finally falling to sleep, I was going through everything. I was looking at the traits and I was looking at everything. And I was like, okay, no coda. And I checked over all of them multiple times. And I think I minted 9, I can't remember. And then another 2. And I was looking over them thinking, okay, it's fine. It's one of those things. I went to sleep and, it was cool. Woke up the next day, went to look at them again. And I was like, oh, actually, I do have a coda. And all of that checking last night, I was so obviously tired, I didn't even see it. So I did end up with one, and it was with my mutant land, I think. So originally I thought I didn't, but it was a bit wild.
Yeah, that's a nice surprise.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a nice surprise. It was, really, but you would not believe like how wired I was. And I really thought that I was looking at everything correctly, which also brings me to the point of security. Never go that long not sleeping properly and then, go clicking things and doing things in this space, because, anything can happen. Because I did not see that coda.
Yeah, I try not to click on any links. I actually got to the point to where I don't even really do much Discord because I don't know what I'm doing, and it seems like it's an easy place to do the wrong thing. And of course, I've moved the majority of everything that I want to keep to a ledger, but that doesn't mean that it's inaccessible. I mean, I think it does, but I'm sure I can find a way to mess it up too.
Yeah, I have like a ledger. I've got lots of hot wallets, and I try not to do anything without really knowing what I'm doing each time. But it's very difficult because anyone can just make a mistake and links can be clicked really quickly and then you can't go back. So it is a bit difficult. And it does really frustrate me actually that with a ledger, you can still get airdropped anything, meaning any scam can appear in your ledger.
Right.
And even though you've got to go through another level of security with, the way you have to use your ledger, I still feel like the fact that anyone can just airdrop something, and then unless you really research things each time, you wouldn't know if you're being airdropped something that could be another scam because everything's getting more evolved these days. So yeah, security is a huge thing and actually a big problem at this time, I think.
Yeah, I like to see I'm never scared that I'm going to like lose something through my ledger because I just don't use it. I'd rather have, and I know that they're improving ways of doing that, but being able to prove what's on my ledger versus having to actually connect to my ledger would be an excellent option. And like I said, I'm not very technologically advanced at all, so I can't really speak to what's being built right now. But to me, it seems as if they're trying to find a way of almost like a proof of ownership without actually having the opportunity to lose a digital asset that you're trying to prove you own. So hopefully we see that progress further and make it a little more user-friendly. I think a lot of people see this space and they see the bad news, right? Some guy got scammed and lost 4 Bored Apes, approximately $500,000. And they're like, well, I'm never going to go into that space if I can lose $500,000 off a scam. So security is really important when you talk about assets that are that valuable. And, for the space to move forward, I think that security is going to be a huge piece of that. And also the user experience part of that security aspect, meaning it's not a bunch of hoops to jump through just to prove that you own something, but at the same time, you're not having to actually pull out what you own and risk losing it just to prove that you own it.
Yeah, for sure. Everything does need to become a lot more simple and a lot more streamlined and safe. And it would be, nice not to need to connect certain things. Like there's a project called Pre-Mint where you don't actually need to connect and sign transactions with your hot wallet, and they allow you to use a separate wallet to mint to your other wallet, which is quite interesting. That's quite a cool project to look at. And also Thons, one of the Bored Apes, who created token proof mechanism, and obviously for Ape Fest it was a lot easier because we didn't have to go sign in transactions and things, and obviously we had a code which was quite cool. Yeah, so things like that, I think are definitely progressing. People are trying to bring the technology. But again, we're in the stage of infancy because we're at the dawn of something that's greater than anything we've ever discovered before. And we're also at the dawn of something that's going to be so huge. It's going to be worldwide, globally adopted. And we are at the roots of it. We're the ones who are experiencing as the frontline audience of something that's going to be everywhere. And everyone is going to be immersed in it, whether they like it or not, because every single business will one day have tokens and NFTs and POAPs, and everything's going to be connected to the blockchain, whether we like it or not. So for any, I guess, average person who's not really into this yet, who have not ever had a digital wallet, never looked into cryptocurrency, think NFTs are a joke because they're just cartoon images majority of the time, or, profile picture projects. No one is, or not no one, but many people are not looking at this to the depth of what we're going through. And we are going through something which is just going to be this huge, massive change for the whole of human history. We're going through something that's making history, and it's going to be a wild ride. We're going to see everything from everything that's going to be adopted through new technology. We're going to see all of the development stages. We're going to go through all of the teething problems and things that, we can all complain about. But one day in the future, we'll be so thankful that we were the people at the beginning who went through the teething problems to understand everything and to have a deep understanding where we're not needing our hands held by centralized platforms where we need to give our details for them to manage it for us.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think that, the way the technology is going, it can be applied to everyday businesses, and it's not there yet. I don't know the exact ins and outs of it, but I work with quite a few companies that I could see could benefit from adopting at least the beginning of a Web3 strategy in some way, shape, or form. Having somebody within their organization that understands how Web3 is being built and how they can apply the technologies that are being built to gain a competitive edge in their particular market space. I deal with HVAC products. I mean, these are necessities in some cases, in some places, and it's like a hard item that goes on a roof, and it's the people in that space, they don't look at something like a JPEG as anything that has any kind of value, right? So the part that they don't understand is that we can tie that particular physical piece of equipment to a communication system that can then be tied back to the manufacturer. And when you start going through the Web3 and NFTs and how this can apply to things like pieces of equipment that are serialized, I think it's pretty obvious. Each item that they have is an NFT too, because none are exactly the same. Each one was produced at a different time. Each one has a different production number, a different serial number. So there's ways to tie, and then that piece of equipment has maintenance and a lifetime, and all that data can be stored and used in ways that it hadn't been used before. So I think that there's ways to move the Web3 space forward for day-to-day businesses. It's just a matter of there hasn't been mass adoption to figure out how to make those work at this point.
Yeah, for sure. And for any businesses that start to try and learn and start to make the connections so that they bring people on board and bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 to allow them to grow into this space and then beyond, are going to be the businesses that succeed through things like, for example, potential recessions or depressions and potential times in, I guess, the world globally where things change and become more online and more, I guess, crypto based, where society deals less with cash and more online like never before. So I think that businesses who start to grow their businesses differently and create a new roadmap and I guess hire the right people who are not just, for example, promoting themselves as, I guess, crypto experts and, blockchain experts, and because a lot of people are just acting. But the people who find good sources who are trusted, who really do understand development and blockchain and technology, being able to implement it into their businesses, will be something that will benefit them in future, because everything is going to be on the blockchain. Every business one day will become a token, an NFT, a POA, a proof of ownership. Everything is going to be on there and it can't be deleted. And also another beautiful thing is it takes out the middleman and everything is at the speed of light, rather than taking 3 days to process, for example. Things are so much, I guess, more streamlined. Things are more streamlined on the blockchain and with crypto and with the new technology than ever before. How tedious is it to, for example, need to send money from your bank to another bank and it takes 5 days, and then there's a transaction happening and there's a middleman you need to rely on and another extra charges. How annoying is it when things are not just instant? It's very frustrating, for yourself and for the person who needs it as well. And for whatever business is waiting for that payment. Fiat currency is dying and crypto one day will elevate and surpass it. So people and businesses really do need to just understand and I guess begin to try to learn more, just to be able to I guess, swim faster past the people who are going to be misjudging their moves. For example, Blockbuster versus Netflix, taxis versus Uber, all of the companies that never saw the future and then didn't believe in it when it started to happen, that never jumped on it, never changed, never adapted their business models to something that was obvious. And to me, this space is obvious. I know lots of people don't understand it yet. Mainstream media don't talk about it in a positive way normally. And it's almost sidelining people's views, is putting blinkers on. But to me, and to you probably as well, it is so clear. It is so crystal clear that anyone who decides to take on board the information now, to just start to learn, start to immerse their minds into it and start to connect with people, even if it's just on Twitter, it's so valuable. All will gain value from it. It's obvious to me.
Yeah. It's, I get a lot of people that ask me about, well, what is Web3? My explanation is it's what the internet should have been. The information age is what we've gone through for the past few decades with the internet. We have all the information we need at our fingertips. Well, it's great. We can learn so fast and find information so fast. The problem is our system wasn't really ready for that. There was people out there that didn't want everybody to know all the information or have access to all the information that they might have access to. And because that's the powers that be, right? I mean, I think the information age has got to the point to where it's passing the technology age or corresponding with it to where we're using technology to find more and more information faster and faster. And that's only going to lead to, in my opinion, more decentralization and the fact that everybody is created equal. We don't need 8 people at the top to tell us, this is how it needs to be done because nothing's behind the scenes. It's all on the blockchain. You can go back and look at each transaction. And, I know these are just kind of concepts of early adoption of crypto, but this is the kind of conversation that I would have with somebody that asks like, well, what is this, what is Web3? What is that going to do? What does it mean? And that's kind of what I go back to is that the information age has passed the systems that were built back in the day. Now people can go research what actually happened and find that information and make their decisions based on just having to listen to what somebody's telling them. And I think that's where we're at in this space is that we want to be in charge of our own financial situation and finances. That's what crypto's about, right? We see the feds just continue to print money and we know that doesn't work. It's failed multiple times, across multiple societies in the past. And it's usually the absolute downfall of a society. So I think that the information that's available that we can go get, it's kind of a do your own research thing at this point because you're not going to have any media outlets really pushing it. It's not in their interest. It doesn't pump their bags, so they don't care. But I think that we have enough information now or access to enough information now that we realize that we don't really need some of the oversight all the time that may only benefit a few people.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of centralized powers, I should say, the powerful people at the top are probably scared about the freedom of decentralization for the people who are on the wheel that turns the cogs that make them money. It's all very interconnected. And anyone who's born into a society now has a tax code. And every baby that's born, there's a number on it for a certain period of years. And every government knows that every baby born is a new taxpayer one day, for example. So we are born into a system that we have no chance of succeeding past whatever the centralized platforms allow. There's so much control over people that another unique, wonderful thing about decentralized platforms is the fact that we have control over everything from our content, from our money perspective, where I guess crypto at the moment, the transactions, I know there's a few gray areas because who knows in future when technology advances for the centralized platforms to use to check on us. But in general, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology and decentralization is such a beautiful thing that, yes, the powers above and the mainstream media, who I guess that's all a circle of control anyway, and they help each other. I think they're probably shaking at what's happening, and they probably don't want anyone to know that it's a great thing for regular people. But I think it's amazing, and I'm I'm so excited. Oh,
Yeah, I agree. And you know, I just saw that my wife and kids pulled up. They're coming home from school. They're probably about to run in here and sound like a
no
bunch of bored
problem.
apes. But just wanted to give you a heads up that if
Let's
they're
fucking
here, I'm
go.
probably gonna have to hang it up. Unless you
That's
wanna, yeah,
fine.
you wanna child care podcast, we can do that. But I just wanted to give you a heads up. Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Well, I don't. That's
I hope we
cool.
can continue this talk. This is a very great chat, and I hope that we can keep it up. I'll be happy to come back on anytime you need me, or for a part 2.
Amazing. I think we should definitely do a part 2. And I don't want to dox your children. I think the baby apes can stay private for now. It's been amazing to have you, Fez. Thank you so much for coming on. All I can say now is we're going to make it.
We're gonna make it.
We're going to make it. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Tequila.
Let's go. Woohoo! Thanks so much. I'll see you back on Twitter.
Okay.
And I can't wait to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. We'll chat soon.
Thanks
Bye.
so
Have a good
much.
evening.
See you.
Okay. Bye.
You too.